They put him in a hospital. They broke his body. They silenced his voice. They took weeks of his life and career and replaced them with pain and recovery and the kind of quiet fury that only builds, never releases until exactly the right moment arrives. And on Monday Night Raw backstage, in the corridor where nobody was expecting it, main event GUSO found his moment. And the mystery man paid everything he owed. Revenge. Is. Served. Yep, GUSO just delivered the most personal, most brutal, most completely deserved backstage ambush in the history of Monday Night Raw. And the mystery man will never forget what happened in that corridor tonight. Suplex Rumble Nation, what is up? I am your host and I am going to be completely honest with you right now. I have been waiting to cover this specific moment since the night GUSO was first put in that hospital bed. Because from that moment, from the night the mystery man made the single most catastrophic professional decision available in the WWE landscape by targeting main event GUSO, the only question was not if G was going to deliver his revenge. The only question was when, and how, and whether the payoff would be worthy of the weeks of building fury that made this moment inevitable. Suplex Rumble Nation, the payoff was more than worthy. The ambush that GUSO delivered to the mystery man backstage on Raw was everything. Every ounce of justified, earned, completely authentic revenge energy that this community has been waiting for, delivered in one of the most viscerally satisfying backstage moments Monday Night Raw has ever produced. Subscribe if you are new. Notification bell. Drop a comment right now, yep, telling me your reaction when GUSO appeared in that corridor and the mystery man realized what was happening. Let's go into every extraordinary detail of this moment together right now. Before we reconstruct the ambush, before we honor every second of the revenge that GUSO delivered, we need to spend real, dedicated time establishing the debt. The specific, accumulated, completely justified debt that the mystery man owed main event GUSO before tonight's Raw. Because revenge only carries moral weight proportional to the wrong it answers. And what was done to GUSO was wrong on a scale that made tonight's ambush not just satisfying but necessary. The mystery man's campaign against GUSO was not a single incident. It was sustained, calculated, conducted with the specific patience of someone who was not acting from impulse but from a plan, a deliberately constructed series of actions designed to systematically dismantle everything GUSO had built and everything he represented in the WWE landscape. The initial attacks before the hospitalization communicated the scope of the mystery man's intention. Not opportunistic violence taking advantage of random circumstances. Targeted, methodical assault designed to send specific messages to specific people through the specific medium of harm done to G's body and career. Every attack was a sentence in a paragraph. Every incident a paragraph in a chapter. The hospitalization was the chapter's climax. And the hospitalization itself the specific, medically serious, genuinely sustained removal of GUSO from the WWE environment that he loves, from the WWE universe that loves him, from the bloodline that needed him, was the fullest expression of the mystery man's willingness to go further than the acceptable boundaries of even the most intense professional wrestling rivalry. GUSO in a hospital bed, receiving visits from family and supporters, watching the WWE programming he should have been participating in from a position of enforced absence. That image is the foundation of tonight's revenge. Every moment of that hospitalization, every day of that recovery, every hour of the specific, quiet, building fury of a man who has been deeply wronged and who knows with complete certainty that he is going to answer it. The mystery man created a debt. A specific, personal, completely unambiguous debt that tonight's ambush began to repay. Because one ambush, however brutal, however satisfying, however completely deserved, is only the first installment. Understanding the specific quality of the ambush GUSO delivered tonight requires understanding the mental state he has been building across the weeks since his return to WWE programming. Because there are different kinds of anger in professional wrestling. Reactive anger, the immediate, explosive response to something that just happened, burns hot and fast and produces the specific kind of confrontation energy that live crowds receive with immediate, explosive approval. But it does not always produce the most effective, the most targeted, the most completely devastating response available. What GUSO has been carrying since his return is different. It is not reactive anger. It has had weeks to cool from the white-hot temperature of immediate fury into something colder and more focused. The specific kind of controlled, patient, completely purposeful anger that does not simply want to hurt the person responsible. It wants to deliver something that communicates everything. Every week of hospital recovery. Every missed Raw appearance. Every moment of the WWE Universe's concern. Every step of the physical rehabilitation that should never have been necessary. The revenge GUSO planned, and make no mistake, tonight's ambush was planned, not improvised, was designed to deliver all of that in a single, concentrated, completely unavoidable package. His interactions in the weeks between his return and tonight's Raw showed the specific quality of someone operating with a destination in mind. The promos that communicated more than they said, that contained beneath their surface energy the specific promise of someone who has identified their target and is moving toward it with complete, unhurried certainty. The in-ring performances that showed a version of GUSO operating at maximum focus, not the joyful, celebratory, yep energy of his most crowd-connected appearances, but the concentrated, purposeful version of that same competitive fire directed toward a single objective. Tonight the objective was reached. And everything GUSO had been carrying since that hospital bed went with it. The specific genius of GUSO's revenge ambush on the Mystery Man was not simply that it happened but how it happened. Because what G delivered tonight was not the reactive confrontation of a performer who spotted their target of opportunity and acted impulsively. It was the precisely executed payback of someone who studied the same playbook the Mystery Man used against him and applied it with devastating effectiveness in the opposite direction. The Mystery Man's attacks on GUSO across the weeks of this storyline were effective because they were engineered, because the timing was deliberate, because the location was selected for its specific advantages, because the vulnerability window was manufactured rather than found. The Mystery Man understood the WWE backstage environment well enough to exploit its patterns against a target who did not know they were being studied. GUSO learned from being on the receiving end of exactly that approach. The weeks of his recovery and the investigation he conducted both independently and in partnership with Roman Reigns gave him specific knowledge of the Mystery Man's own patterns, their movement through the backstage environment, their habitual routes, the specific times and locations where their presence was predictable enough to be anticipated. He identified the corridor, the specific backstage corridor where the Mystery Man's movement patterns created a window not unlike the windows that had been manufactured against G himself across the weeks of the Mystery campaign. A corridor with the specific combination of reduced traffic, limited camera coverage, and sufficient isolation to allow what G had planned to be executed without immediate interruption. He positioned himself with the patience of someone who has been waiting weeks for the right moment and is willing to wait exactly as long as necessary to ensure the moment is right. And when the Mystery Man came through that corridor going about whatever business had brought them to that specific location at that specific time, with no awareness that tonight was different, GUSO was already there, waiting. The ambush itself, the specific, completely earned, absolutely devastating physical encounter that GUSO delivered to the Mystery Man in that backstage corridor deserves to be reconstructed with the full attention and detail that this community has been waiting to receive since the night G first went down. The Mystery Man did not see it coming. That specific detail, the complete absence of anticipatory awareness in the moment GUSO made his move, is itself a form of justice. Because GUSO did not see it coming on the nights the